in here, it starts my tone that brings prosperity. I wonder. And so we want to find out who Jade is. Jade, I looked at the inauguration. It was quite good. And one of the persons that I was fascinated with was Amanda Gomez. I won't say Gomez. She fascinated me. A 22-year-old who got the opportunity to do her poems.
Yes, I saw.
It was really...
I don't think I've gotten to her poem as yet, but it was amazing to see like somebody young with that much passion able to do that on a platform that big.
You know, I grew up with poems being rhymes, and at the end of the day, it had to rhyme. But that was a poem of the soul. It was so touching. I'm still feeling it. It was really, really good. And the way it was presented, it was not just a poem, but it was a presentation from a 22-year-old. Because poetry is very difficult to present. I mean, people can write them, but presenting is another thing. You felt that really, really in your soul. But one of the things that really, really caught me is that we see that women have so much talent from so young, and what happens later on, our lights become very, very dim.
I think our dimming starts from childhood. We were raised to be this type of person, like you always have to make sure you know to cook and clean, and we were raised basically to be there for a man that, or woman, whoever so we choose, we were more raised to be in service. Than to find our own, like, because even myself, I remember I used to feel differently to how I am now. I mean, I'm getting back there, but you know, it's like you come to a point in your life where you realize you're not the same person that you used to be. You don't feel the same sparks, and you don't feel the same joys that you used to. You know, sometimes you just sit down and you feel kind of like you've gotten old at a young age, because
responsibilities are one of the things that you take on, and then because of the fact we were not taught how to manage our monies. When I was growing up, emotions. I mean, we were never ever taught about emotions and what they are. I can tell you that because as a child, when I was growing up, our parents tend to get very, very, very busy. And then me, I was raised by a single parent. My mother, she took on the opportunity, the responsibility was forced on her when she had to raise basically 9 children on her own. 9 children, and she did a great job because she can rest in peace because all of her children would have done exceptionally well. So single parenting, for me, people look at it as a bad thing, but sometimes it can be a plus because you have one set of opinions. You don't have your mother trying to raise you this way and your father bringing his own opinions and think this is the way it should be raised, and you have that conflict. So my mother said this is the way it was supposed to be. My brothers would have to find a way of knowing what it is to have the paternal side of it. I mean, they grew up to be strong men because they had to be strong from youth. So, and the women, we had the privilege of being raised by a strong woman. So because of that, we are all strong women. We don't take nonsense from anybody. But so
she didn't raise you to be the submissive type of lady that you're supposed to...
type of, no. We had to assert ourselves early. We have to understand that the responsibilities stands right here at us, and we had to rise to the occasion. And so because of that, from a young age, I was always the kind of assertive type. People look at me, my assertion, as aggression, but it wasn't that.
Every time any black woman is outspoken or just, knows... They have this type of confidence that you just know that you can't bully them, or they have that type of personality where they just stand on what they say, or they are what they present. It always is deemed aggressive, or because
you want to be a man, and
we can't just be. We can't. That's one thing I realize. We can't just be. We have to be this type of woman or that type of woman. We can't just be how we feel like we should be.
But you see, earlier clock, I realized that I was going to be who I wanted to be. Nobody was going to influence that, and I think that is what made me who I am. I don't care what anybody think about me. I don't live my life to please anybody, because then I always ask myself, why would I change for you? Because then if I do that, then I would never be me. And I always wanted to be me because I love being me. Let me tell you something, it's a privilege, it's a pleasure to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. You're not controlled by anybody. Your life is not dictated by anybody. Your mistakes are your mistakes, and you learn from them, and you don't care. Nobody, you don't try your best. I'm not offending anybody because I'm living my life. If anybody becomes offended by the life that I live,
that's their choice.
They got in my space. And that is one of the things. So I live that life. So the people out there who think that I care about what people say, never did.
I've actually, in my more into my adult life, that's when I've started forming that opinion. Like, that's how I literally feel right now, because I guess when I was younger, I wasn't raised the same way you were. And then because of the things that I'm into, like promotions and events and all of that, like people used to literally think it's because of a man or something. Like there was never a thought for them that I'm doing this because I want to do it. It's always, oh, some man put you in this position, or like, you know, you're going with somebody who doing it, so that's why you're doing it. Like, no, it was never that. And the more I started hearing that, because yes, the people that I am in, like who I work with are men, because men have generally dominated this business.
Stage have been set for them to do that. I mean, we have to break that stage down and start again, but that's another topic.
Yeah, so as soon as a woman enters this stage and behaves as they deem like the guys, because it's really hard to bully me. My friends, with them, they've taught me how to be very strong. So other opinions don't bother me. Like there's nothing you could tell me that would make me like change my whole day, or you know how sometimes you hear something and it affects your whole day. That's not me. That's your problem. Like I tell people all the time, like I do not care. You could say whatever, I just do not care.
Well, you're my adopted daughter. I suppose you have that in your genome. That's part of my genes. I set up that way because if you start living the life that people want you to live, Jade, you'll never live your life. So therefore, when you hear people talk about living your best life, that doesn't apply to you. When you start to live the life that people want you to. I know people always said to me, I'm consider myself Jill of all trade, master of none, because of the fact that everything that I want to do, I try.
Same.
There's nothing wrong with trying. It's not that I want to be perfect at anything, but I want to have the information that I can do every and anything. Call on me and I would be able to do it. I said the only thing I would not be able to perform right now is a brain surgery.
Yeah, surgery isn't, because I don't like blood.
I don't like blood. That's one of the things. I think I might tamper with the heart because it's a few thump and it would start again. But I mean, the brain part, I wouldn't go in there. But I believe that I can do anything that I put my mind to. And I think that is what made me the strong woman in who I am. I've brought that down to my children. It's a disadvantage sometimes because sometimes you try to tell them things and they're so stuck in their ways. And
because you already
plant that seed and I want to pull up that tree and plant it over again. But I don't push it because it's who they are. I never try to change who my children are and what they want to think. I give them the free reins to do that.
You should.
All I do is give them a backup plan.
You have to guide them, but you don't have to smother them.
Exactly. They have a backup plan. If I realize that you're not too sure what you're going to do, okay, let's do this at this time. So later on in life, you can make your choices. Like when my son was going to college, he didn't want to go. And he said, but what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. I said, the world is changing. Technology is taking over. Go and do information technology. And then later on in life, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to change, you want to become, you can do that. But at least you have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
And because when you realize, because children are going to try to take the easy way out. And later on in life, you realize how important life is. And let me tell you, I can say this now. I have one of the world's greatest boy. I mean, he's going into a beautiful young man, and he is one of the best child. I don't know why God gave him to me or why he chose me, but he has now recognized that he wants to do business management. And he decided he's going to do this now. Some people, because what I find with a lot of us parents, we want to look at what Jane is doing, what the Browns are doing.
Oh, you should be a lawyer,
doctor.
Like,
and then when you be that, who's going to clean the drain? I tell my son, if you want to be a janitor, you're going to be the best janitor.
That's all you have to do. Whatever. Let me tell you something. I figured this out so long ago. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've had several jobs in different departments, but all of them have given me skills that I now use.
Jade, you're my daughter then. You're my little girl. You're young me in the making. I started out as a statistician, work at Social Security. Then I went into planning. Then I taught at Ross University. I became a systems analyst. I went in managerial position. I've done almost all of I was a secretary. I tampered with accounting. You because you feel like you can. What he has done, it has given me all the tools that I need for today. Yeah. Because I don't need anybody to do anything for me.
No, like I've always figured out how to do things for myself.
Yeah.
Like, I used to braid here. I actually used to work at WINN FM years ago. And now I do graphic design, I do promotions, I do event planning. And a lot of these things I were taught by me.
Yeah,
like I didn't go to school for nothing that I'm currently doing.
And that is the privilege that we have. Information is there at our fingertips. The same books that we go to university, and I want those who have that strong feeling that my child has to go to uni. I want them to understand this. When you go to college, you are educated in a particular field. That basically retards your growth because you become an accountant. And I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people come from college with an accounting degree, and
they can't do anything.
Not even an interview. You can have a decent interview because of the fact that is the field, and that's what college does. It gives you that step forward where you are ahead of others in that field.
But when you go into the real world now,
suppose you hear me discuss medicine, you would want to know, are you a doctor? I mean, I go down that. Suppose you hear me debate somebody's case, you come and you have a problem. You would think that I'm one of the best lawyers there is. And they ask, did you study law? No. But when you have the exposure, you can do anything.
Yeah.
My son told me yesterday, I remember you used to say, Mommy, stop trying to remember. When you remember, you're going to forget. Understand it. When you understand it, you'll never forget it, and you'll be able to grow from there. And that was when he was a child.
Wow.
Because in school, you teach you to remember this. These are formulas that you remember.
That is literally it. I can't tell you. Let me tell you something, right? I went to school. I went to high school. I went to CFP. I didn't go to.
And have you applied anything that you've learned in school?
I can't remember anything I've learned in school.
Yeah, but you know what though? What they taught you in school was basically they tried, not taught you, but they tried to influence that analytical side of you, where you have to analyze things, and people don't know that the problems that you are solving, these are not really day-to-day problems that you have to solve.
No,
but it helps you to be able to look at something and analyze it and come up with a solution.
Yeah.
So that was, but then we sit down and think, this is what we're going to take in the workplace. We have to try to understand. I remember when we were doing in school, we were doing pi and sine
and
cosine. And I remember I said to Mr. Taylor, let me tell you something. If this is what maths is all about, then I'm going to have a problem. Because if I go down to TDC and I tell Mr. King, he asked me, what did you do? And I tell him I did pi. He said, no. He would want to know, what am I calling him? What is pie? And then he knows, because the lifestyle they live, they understand the lemon meringue pie. And so these are the things that, and I said it because, but then I didn't realize that at that time, it's not about taking pie to the workplace. It's not about doing, because I tell him, I know what cosine means. When you go to the bank for a loan, your sign is a cosine, basically. Then those are the things. And I said, tan is when you lie in the sun and you get a tan. So those are the things that you look at, but you didn't realize that they were teaching you basically. Skills. Yeah, it's the skills that you develop. And people want to take it further. Okay, you find an area that you want to specialize in. But how far do you go? What does a specialist do?
Maybe we should start reinforcing that fact that we're just teaching life skills.
Yeah, it is basically that. Yeah,
because a lot of students don't look at it as okay, I'm getting these skills so I could apply them in life. They literally just look at the work they get and they figure that this is what they have to figure out. So you have to know the square root of this.
Yeah, you have to know formulas, and you take that in and you panic. But it's not that
Oh, let me tell you something. I could. As much as I don't remember what I learned, I remember one experience when I was doing CXC and I panicked, and it was when I was doing my SBA. Like, I had a full meltdown. Full crying session because I could not get these things to balance how I needed them to balance.
And that is a big problem. I remember when I was doing chemistry, I have all this science subjects, that's what I did. I don't know why I did them, because nobody advised me and nobody told me what it was. I'd like them. And I remember when I was doing chemistry and when I look at paper 1 and I realized only 2 things that I know there, I decided, let me write a letter to Cambridge and tell them it's not the fact that I'm dumb, but you have to take into consideration, I'm not the only one who have this problem, so start looking at the teachers. And those are the things that it was because you felt like, and look, I've never done anything where science are concerned. And these are the things that I ask myself a lot of times, did I wait? Because I am very business oriented, but all of my subjects are basically in the science.
So you wonder if you waste your time?
No, I didn't waste my time because I play doctor, and I don't have to go to medicine. I practice because I.
You know how I play doctor? WebMD.
Yeah, you can find everything there.
But you shouldn't.
Why
because not? The last, for everything you Google on WebMD, you could have a cut on your hand. You have cancer.
Look at the worst case scenario. And then when you find out you don't have cancer, you say, hey, hello.
Do you know you're right?
That's one of the things. That's a good thing about it. But we have all of the information out there, and I'm perplexed when I look at parents still who are forcing their children into this one subject. Life, we have learned.
How many lawyers and doctors can we have?
I'm asking the same questions, and that's why we're running out of police officers and nurses, because people they feel like that's low-end job. It's status quo, because we always want to feel like we are somebody. And so when you hear you have a master's degree, you go on to do a PhD. For the rest of your life, you're in school. Later on, when you're done with school, you're dead.
And funny enough, right, I used to feel bad about not doing all of these things. Not like
why?
I guess because that's how society made it.
Because you who's society, you make up society. Like I said to you earlier, Jade, and take that. If it's one thing I want you to take from here, do not care.
Well, I said I used to. Now I don't. I don't care about those things. Like, all I hear people not saying that college isn't important. There are people who go, and I'm very proud of them. They're doing their thing. I'm not one of those people. I am content with what I'm learning. I learn every day about
self-taught.
Yeah,
you're self-taught,
and I'm learning things that I actually want to do. I'm not just doing it because this is what society deems as like the good jobs and whatever. I'm doing it because I like to be creative. So if, like, for instance, coming to WINN FM, I didn't know anything about radio and how to work a OBS stream and setting up scenes for shows, and I didn't know none of this. But I had to learn.
I remember my first stint at radio station. When I went to station, my mother was not feeling well, and I went down, took a year off from working and decided to go down to work. And I wound up running a radio station, had not a clue. I didn't even know about the console. When I saw it, I was like, what the hell? And, I used to think when I was growing up that everybody I was like, the radio station must have been filled with people, because people are always up there. Some people have up there waiting their turn to come in and do things. And all this time, the ad coming on, I'm like, that's the work that they do, because you hear the ads coming on all the time, and you want to, that's the work that you think that they're in the radio station waiting for their turn. So when I was in there and I recognized, the technical aspect of it, and I saw what we had to do, and I decided, you know what, let's take this, let's embrace this. And I felt good because I was going to run the station, I was going to be a radio show host, I was going to be a DJ.
You alone?
It was a one-man thing, because I went in and I had people working along with me, but because of the fact that it was a new thing for him and he wanted to cut costs, he felt that I had the ability to do all of these things and still manage, did my own jingles, went out and do my marketing, and I ran that station basically single-handedly, and I was like, wow. Not thinking one day that, how tough it was. I was really game for the challenge. It was a challenge, and I enjoyed it. I think because it was basically in the area that I like to do most talk.
And that's how I feel about my current job now, because, like, as much as it's new and new things comes with lots of challenges, you have to learn all kind of things. Like, I don't feel like, oh my God, why I have to come here because I know something, and I don't feel that I get
look forward to it.
Yeah, I do. I don't even, like, if something goes wrong, I don't even panic. I laugh because, like,
we're up. You see, one of the things that we fail to realize as humans is that we are going to make mistakes. I remember when I first started off, I was talking about, rehearsing what I'm going to say, and I have a problem. I'm very impromptu. I cannot read a script. I can't rehearse because I will never remember. It confuses me. And so I'm trying to rehearse, I'm going to say this. And when I get in, I have my little notes. As you see, I don't have any jottings. I don't have paper. I don't have anything, because it's just me. I talk. So one of the gifts that I have, never really realized it was a gift, but,
Imagine.
Yeah, and I have vivid imagination. I can just think things that are not even real and make it a reality. That's how good I am. But, and I went in and I used, especially the jingles, it was a natural thing. I used to write poetry, write these little stories. I have lots of those stories that I wrote because that was one of my, my feel-good moments. I expressed everything that I had in poetry or in writing.
But my writing isn't poetry and all of that. My writing is my feelings. Like,
it's exactly. That's what poetry is.
Yeah, that's true.
It's an expression of yourself. You express
yourself.
Mine
isn't for poetry. Mine is for self-help. So, like, for instance, if I know today, like, I might have had a tough day, I go home and I write it out.
Don't.
Why?
Because you refer to it again and it becomes a tough day.
Oh,
for
no,
the
I
next
don't.
Day. Next, when you read it, it's like, I had a tough day yesterday.
Who reads it over?
Okay, good. I tell people, my sister has a diary, and she's been keeping a diary since she was about 15 years old. And so you know how many diaries she has, stacks and stacks, and she keeps them.
Mine is to be burnt.
Okay, good. So it's just a form of expressing yourself.
Yeah, like mine is literally just to release whatever stress I had for that day. I don't go back to it. I don't read it over. Once I get it out, and I move on to another page. When this book is filled, it will be burned.
Okay, good. For me, the reason why I used to try to write in a diary, but My life, no, I don't do. I couldn't get it done. Although I like writing, that's what I say. I can do poetry. I can write little books. I can write stories.
Well, maybe that's how you get it out.
So, but for me to write in a diary about my, today, dear diary, today I had.
Oh no, that sounds too late.
Yeah, that's how it started.
No, that sounds too,
I met Mr.
formal.
Such and such and blah blah blah. No.
You have to write in your diary the way you speak.
Okay,
and
good.
think. So you can't just sugarcoat it and downplay your feelings and whatever. If you feel like it's, I can't say that word on here, but if you feel like it's forget this person today, that's how you write it out.
Okay.
Expletives and all, but you don't dumb it down or you sugarcoat it or you because that's not how you feel. Yeah, you write exactly how you feel.
When I was growing up, I used to think it was the